Discover prototypical track and turnouts with the Roadmaster series from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Proudly made in the United States, Oak Hill's handcrafted turnouts provide unparalleled detail and accuracy, giving your layout museum-quality track work at an affordable price. Whether fully built or in easy-to-assemble kit form, Roadmaster provides all the details of real track. Looking for a custom piece of track work? Oak Hill can help with custom turnouts, diamonds, crossings, and more. Check out all of their offerings on their website, ohrtracksupply.com. If you're looking to bring more realism to your layout industries, look no further than tullymodels.com, the home of Southern Tier Grain Modeler Supply and Steel Mill Modeler Supply. With models to fit steam, transition, and diesel eras, Kevin Tully has you covered with all of the components you'll need to take your grain and steel mills to the next level. Check out the entire catalog at tullymodels.com. You've been hearing me say that advertising with Around the Layout podcast gets your business in front of our amazingly engaged audience. But let's hear about results from Mike Zucker at Spring Creek Model Trains.
Ever since we've been advertising with Around the Layout, we've definitely seen a nice steady increase of our outbound shipments through our website. Just being able to grow together has been a significant boost to us. It's just a great way for us to be able to show what we do. And partnering here through the advertising and everything is a great way to show off the hobby, support the hobby, and all the different facets that is the hobby of model trains.
Learn how we can partner and grow together. Email us at aroundthelayout@gmail.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott, so glad you could join us. As many of you already know, I recently attended the 18th annual St. Louis RPM in Collinsville, Illinois. This was my second trip to the St. Louis RPM, and it surely didn't disappoint. I had an amazing trip spending time with fellow model railroaders as we shared stories, knowledge, and our passion for this great hobby. I brought along my microphone and recorder and talked to over 20 attendees, and I'm pleased to share these conversations with you in two parts. Without further ado, here's part one of our coverage of the 18th annual St. Louis RPM. Enjoy!
It's going to be interesting being on this side again of the microphone.
Well, that's, I was going to say that, Mike. Would you like to hold the mic? Would you feel more at home if I just hand it to you?
It's a new experience to let somebody else hold the microphone for once. So I'll be the man on the street you're interviewing, so we can do that.
All right, I'll play the reporter.
We can do that.
And you get to be an author today. So so I'm here with Mike Landis, and we've had Mike on the show. We've talked about your MKT layout and moving your layout around, and you've just moved from to a new home, and now you're kind of restarting and doing all that. We'll share a link in the show notes about that. But you're here as an author today, a new addition to a book you've written already. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike.
So this is Show Me Katie, and our original edition came back out in 2017, and this is covering the prototype railroad that I'm building on my layout. And so covering it, the entire line, the St. Louis line of the Katy Railroad in the 1980s. And so we're eventually going to be rolling out several other editions, including Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas, all the states. But this is an expanded edition of that. So ahead of the additional states we're working on right now to roll out, we had a lot of interest in this. And even since the book sold out, we've had a lot of people asking about it. And so I was like, well, now's a good time to roll it back out and get rolling again on that.
So if you have the original version of the book, tell us what you're going to get in an expanded version and why you should keep that one on the shelf, but then also get yourself the expanded version.
Yeah, great question. We've had a lot of people asking about that. I was able to reformat the book and then also add several additional pages. So it's an expanded edition in the sense that you've got a lot more content to it, almost 40 additional pictures. And so a lot of people think the original book is plenty of Katy pictures. That's cool as well. But this is for individuals who maybe didn't get that original version, or they just love the Katy Railroad so much that they want that additional collection of pictures to have in there. So
when do you know you have a book inside you? Right. When do you know, when you're a modeler, obviously you're a reporter for your job, but when do you know that you've got that author thing inside you? And how did you kind of get to that point where you start to say, all right, now it's time to put a book out?
Interestingly enough, it's very similar to the layout. You just kind of have something brewing in the back of your head for years and years. I was obviously doing a lot of research over the years just because of my interest in the Katy, but also planning for the layout. And before you know it, you've got all these pictures and all of this, detail information, and you have a book in your hands pretty much in that sense, So, obviously for my day job, I write stories every day, and so I love trains, and so it was just an easy decision to go ahead and just simply do that, just kind of combining my love of two things. And then obviously, we've got generous Katy fans from all over the world that have sent pictures in to us. And so I was a youngster when the Katy was around, too young to have a camera, so I didn't get to capture those pictures, but we've relied on people. Katy pictures have come in from all over the country, parts of the world I didn't even know you'd have Katy fans, but they're kind of everywhere out there.
Yeah, so a new take on a compilation on the MKT, and then be able to share all that information that you learned in that research process, which I think a lot of modelers are in that same boat. It's just the education they get when they start to dig and that inside baseball information that starts to come out from other folks, and then being able to put it into print where it can be shared around the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of interesting because there are a lot of great Katy Railroad books out there, and I'll tell you where this idea for the project started. The bulk of the Katy system, the busiest part was in the states of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And so most of your Katy books out there have been focused on those states. And the Missouri line was sort of like the back branch to St. Louis. So you didn't have a lot of people going out there to photograph it, to rail fan it. And so I thought, well, let's have a book focusing on Missouri. And so that was my original intent. I rolled the book out on Missouri, and then I'm having a lot of folks asking, well, what about the other states? I'm like, well, you've got books for those states, but there's that much of a demand for Katy material out there. That's why we're going ahead and just continuing to roll out that material. It's pretty exciting.
The Mike Landis 20 years from now, what is he going to tell the people now about photographing, knowing that you wish 20 years and 30 years ago what they were doing?
I would say if you see something right now, take a picture of it. It may be something as strange and mundane as a crossing signal. We talked about that on the show a while back. Stuff that you think is always going to be around, that you pass every day. It just kind of blends in with the scenery. One day that's going to be gone, and you never know when you might have a reason to think, hey, I needed that. I needed a picture of it, and it's gone. For the Katy Railroad, as I mentioned, most of the photography comes from other individuals around the country, but there have been things that I've, in my own personal life, when it comes to rail fanning, stuff that you think is always going to be there, whether it's your favorite railroad or a structure or a building. I'll get a picture of it next time. I'll get a picture of it, tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, it's gone, you don't have that photograph. And so take pictures of stuff right now, document stuff, take notes, because, that's going to come in pretty valuable to you, 10, 20 years from now. You may not think you need it, but I bet you will someday.
Yeah, that's for sure. Keep shooting, because you're capturing somebody's golden era.
Exactly. It will be for somebody. And just like with the Katy stuff, I mean, all these guys that, they were adults at the time when I was a kid capturing these images, and I'm glad they did, because now we can kind of share them. And it's very interesting to see the interest in the Katy Railroad of younger people that weren't even alive when the Katy was. I was a youngster. I was 9 years old when it got bought out, but it's kind of fun to see this generation of rail fans coming up. They love BNSF and UP, but also the railroads that created those. It's kind of fun to share that information, kind of help pass that on to the future.
Well, until Doc Brown builds that DeLorean and we can get back to those great times, we have it in books. Tell us again the name of the book and where we can buy it.
This is Show Me Katy, this particular one being Show Me Katy Expanded Edition. I have that on my website, themaintrack.com, where you can also find all of our videos from the YouTube channel, all in one place for you.
Awesome. Mike Landis, great to see you here at the St. Louis RPM. Let you get back to the table. I got to get you to sign a book for Paul Cassar, because I'll be in trouble with him if I don't walk and take that back home so we can send it to Australia.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, great sending these books everywhere around the world. Australia, England, Germany, Katy guys are everywhere, so it's always great to connect with them as well.
Awesome, Mike. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Ray. Appreciate it so much.
So I've been able to run down probably the busiest man at the St. Louis RPM, and I'm holding on to him because I'm sure he's got yet another task to do, the guy that's leading all of this, Lonnie Bathurst.
Good morning, Ray. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm cooling down. It was a little warm this morning. We're at Saturday morning here at the St. Louis RPM. 18th, right? We were talking about the 18th show.
Yes, sir. 18th, and it's rolling along very well. We had over 700 come in the door yesterday. We normally get about another 250 on Saturday, so we think we'll match last year. Tables are full and more models than ever.
Yeah, that's for sure. I saw the parking lot this morning. We were coming in, and it was starting to fill up. I got here about 9:30 after our little rail fanning trip. That you caught us outside the hotel window.
Yes, that was funny. I was knocking on the glass, couldn't get your attention, so I took your picture.
Yeah, Matt Fricks and I headed out to the Terminal Railway Yard and took some photos there. So that's one of the great things about the St. Louis RPM. I mean, obviously the models and the people is what it's about, but the location is just amazing for not only modeling, but also the rail fanning and the things that you can also do while you're here in the St. Louis area.
Yes, there's a popular bridge to go over for the railroads, so all of the railroads come through St. Louis to get across the water, and you can find about any railroad coming through here.
Yeah, that's for sure. In fact, that's what's great about that yard. I picked up Norfolk Southern action. There was a CN and a BNSF, and of course the Terminal Association. Yeah, that's everything. Plus, there's stuff outside of railroad, and the Cardinals were in town. We went by Busch Stadium and saw that. There's some amazing restaurants, so it's just a full experience this weekend.
Yeah, there's the National Museum of Transportation that's here, and a few other groups that have real rail cars out there. Plenty of hobby shops in the area, big hobby shops. So there's plenty to do around here besides come to this, and this is full of people.
And if that's not your flavor, you can always just hang out and drink with us over at the DoubleTree. And we had a couple adult beverages last night after the keynote roundtable, and we got to talk to 5 amazing modelers last night and hear them talk about how they're using technology. And we learned quite a bit, didn't we, Lonnie?
I thought it was great. We hadn't done a panel before, and to ask those guys of that caliber, and they agree to do it, and they just poured their hearts out about what they're doing in a very professional way, and it was, I think, excellent attendance, and everybody was thrilled to pick up what they did for knowledge.
Excellent. So day 2 here, what can we expect out of day 2 for events?
We're finding more people are bringing in models. I think I've seen between 35 and 50 people bring in boxes of models myself. So while we get a few thousand on the first day, we're getting quite a few on the second day. So that's a thing that is also good. And then the clinics keep rolling, and they're all presenting starting at 9:30, just like yesterday. The finality of this is we'll have a couple hundred prizes starting at 4:30, and it's amazing how many hundreds of people stay just to be there to try to win a prize.
Well, I'll tell you, last year I won, and I won early. And it's a little overwhelming because there's so much stuff out there. Of course, right up front was a 50-foot high-cube boxcar, and then for folks that know me, that was the first thing I grabbed. There probably was hundreds of dollars of value more around it, but that's what I grabbed. And it's amazing the generosity of the folks that are here.
We have several locomotives on the table, or will have, good quality cars, books. It is amazing what they give us. We try to keep their costs down and ask them to donate something nice, and they do it every year.
I'll tell you, the one thing I can't say enough about the St. Louis RPM is the camaraderie. And, that shows through the willingness to give and the willingness to teach. I'm looking out right now, and you can see the flags up. There's 4 learning stations right in my view. Plus, I can see actually now 5 in the distance. It's not only just the clinics that are in the rooms. You can just stop by a table and have a conversation and pick up so much information.
I know. We have 4 really world-renowned weathering artists over here sitting at one learning station. Another fellow's putting on a spray paint clinic. We've got Jet Auto showing how to lay track, and a few others on top of that. So those 6 keep busy all day long for 2 days, and it's a nice addition to all of the clinics.
Absolutely, yeah. So camaraderie, learning, just being with our people here. And what would he say on the show, though? Scott Thornton called them the homeboys, right? We're all with the homeboys and the homegirls and people that really understand just how passionate we are about model railroading.
Yeah, I think that you mentioned it last night, the RPM Roundup with all that free food. There had to be north of 100 people in there that were modelers that come around at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night after they do the layout tours and op sessions and the keynote panel, and they go out to dinner, or they hang around here and the models are open.
Imagine the flywheels that are turning after this. So after you get here and now you're inspired. You've seen what others are doing, and they've got you going, and it's just amazing to think how much is going to happen after this in basements and layout rooms around the country.
Oh, we were talking to the fellow who has scale signs, and Tom Garza, and I said, how's this going? He says, well, this is wonderful, but he says, you have no idea what I generate from business after this, that people didn't know I was around, and they asked, do I make this, and all of those things, and it's just after the show, it keeps going. It really does. This meet is a lot of people who have great thoughts, critical thinkers in the hobby.
Yeah, that's for sure. And inspiring critical thinkers, ones that can get you starting to think critically too. And again, we found that out last night at the round table. A lot of great ideas. A lot of people had their phones up, putting in website addresses and bookmarking things. So I think we've definitely kicked a lot of flywheels in motion this weekend.
We try to have an element of research here every year too. Besides all of the historical societies, one or two of our clinics every year has something to do with research. And that's, like you say, the cogs get turning.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, my cogs are turning. I'm pumped up. This has been an absolute blast. This is on my list every year from now on. I was here last year. It was phenomenal. This year, it lived up to it. I can't wait for year number 3. And we still got half a day of RPM to go. So, Lonnie, thank you so much for all of what you do, along with your committee, because you're a guy that, when I say you're going to say the committee. We know that, but we appreciate everything that you guys do. It's about promoting the event. It's about promoting the hobby. It really is, and you can tell your passion for bringing people together.
Well, thank you so much. You did an excellent job last night. It was as good as it was because the way you put things together. We thank you.
Well, it was my honor, and Lonnie will definitely be looking forward to what we got coming up in 2026.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm always excited to come to the St. Louis RPM, and nothing got me more excited than when I discovered AORail.com, AO Rail Model Train Products, and this new, I've been calling it a dyno, right? Because it just reminds me of these hot rod dynos. But boy, you folks have really solved the problem. We got Art here from AO Rail to talk to. Tell us about what's got me so excited here.
Well, I don't know, actually, no. Okay, so we make a rolling road, or locomotive test track, as I like to call it. We have an accessory that goes with it, a speedometer, so you can gain actual data, the different speed steps your locomotive performs. We have a wheel cleaner accessory that works for diesel locomotives, and that's about it. Right now we're only selling HO scale, but we're working on O scale, S scale, and N scale, and hope to have that at Train Fest this coming November.
So what we're doing here, we've got these locomotives sitting here, but this isn't 10 feet of track. This is not this big thing. When I program, and I used to have my programming track 6, 7, 8 feet long, that's not what we have here, is it?
No. So the short one is only about 15 inches, and the long rolling road, which accommodates a UP big boy, is about 24 inches long. The locomotive doesn't go anywhere. You'll collect your information, your speed information, all in one spot.
This is one of the more exciting things I've seen in some time when it comes to this. You have solved the small space problem that we all seem to face. You know, the wave of the hobby has been small layouts, small shelf layouts, condensed space, and now you're able to do that with programming. And it's all so professionally done, clean. The speedometer looks so professional. And I'll be honest with you, I bought one yesterday. Don't tell my wife, I hope she don't listen to this podcast. And I took it out in the hotel room. I at least had to see it. So so in the hotel room last night, on the little table in the hotel room, I didn't obviously hook it up, but I did plug it in, and I was going through some of the menus. It's very intuitive. Talk about a little bit of the tech behind this and how this will all work. And I guess it's got some Wi-Fi capability as well for in updates. How does that all work?
So basically, the reason we put Wi-Fi in there was to update the firmware that runs the speedometer, because we went through a number of versions when we were developing it, and we thought that was the easiest way to do it. That's primarily why we did the Wi-Fi. It only added a few dollars in cost, and it was convenient for updating the firmware. But there's potential for growth with it, for basically transmitting the speed to a computer someday, and that's where we hope to get with it. That's in the works.
Awesome. That's very cool and very innovative. What kicked this whole idea off? What was the talk about the problem that you were looking to solve?
Well, for years, I'm a cabinet maker by trade, and for years, one of my sons kept encouraging me to get into 3D printing. So I did. And I bought a 3D printer kit from Prusa, a Czech firm. It sat in my closet for several years. I finally assembled it one weekend, and I was actually quite disappointed at how slow it was. But in the process of doing that, I learned Fusion 360, a CAD program, and then graduated to a line of printers, Bamboo Labs, which are extremely fast and very reliable. And one of the first projects I did was a project involving bearings. Then I thought to myself, I can make that rolling road I wanted to make for years because I didn't like anything on the market. So I made my rolling road. My friend saw it, wanted it. Then a friend suggested a speedometer. So we developed a speedometer. And the rest is history.
I tell you, it solves so many different things. And talk about all the things that we can do with it. We talked about running out locomotives on it. We've got the speedometer. So talk about the things that we can use AORail.com to solve.
If you're like me, I have hundreds of locomotives and no layout, no track. So with a rolling road, you can buy a locomotive. You can hear the sound. You can run the locomotive up through all its paces. You can troubleshoot with it. You can clean wheels on it. So like this locomotive in front of us right now, it's running a big boy. You could take a micro Q-tip and go in there with a little bit of cleaner and clean the wheels as it's turning. I heard one fella is actually airbrushing with this, weathering as the locomotive's turning. The sky's the limit, from just simply a display to breaking in a locomotive, enjoying a locomotive running, to programming, troubleshooting, wherever it takes us.
They say there's 7 degrees of separation, but it don't even take 7 degrees. When we were over here talking, the first name you mentioned is Kevin Norman from Notch 8, and I said, I know Kevin. He's the one that painted the HO scale ATLP 2022 boxcar that's touring the world. So, and you said Kevin's been using this well, and I know he's been using it now for checking DCC installations and also doing speed matching with it as well.
Yeah, he was my first customer. He walked up right to me at Train Fest, and he posted on his Facebook page exactly what you said earlier. The most exciting thing for him at Train Fest was AO Rail, which I was pretty flattered to hear that from him. And so Kevin's a great guy, very interesting, and yes, he's using it. So I'm happy to hear that.
Well, it's got the Kevin Norman seal of approval. I can't wait to get it home, set it up so you can get the Ray Arnott seal of approval. You've got an amazing product here. I really think the highlight of the show, and I can't wait to see you at other train shows as you're out here. I'm looking around this table. I bought the shorter one because that's all I need. The longer one really kind of tilted towards steam. I just need ones for, 6-axle diesels and 4-axle diesels. Art, I don't see any more left.
No, I sold out yesterday, first day of the short ones. Sold out the wheel cleaner this morning. Hopefully I sell out of the large ones today. So that's it.
Boy, I'm glad I acted fast and got mine to take back with me to New England, and I'll be able to set that up. Very professional, very awesome product. AORail.com. Art, thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you all the best luck. And I'll tell you, we're going to be finding a way to work together because you've got a solution to a problem that a lot of our listeners are looking for. An ability to speed match their locomotives in a smaller space without having to dedicate a whole bunch of track or find a shelf on the wall. 15 inches is all you need for us diesel guys. You give it a little bit more if you're running a big boy like he's got here up on the display. But you are definitely on to something here. Art, thank you so much for taking a little time to talk with us here at the St. Louis RPM.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You know, every time I go flying, I go look for you in an airport, but it took us to finally had to coordinate to find each other at Midway, and was able to catch up with Dave Oppedisano.
It was a great time. Yeah, great catching up with you, Ray. A little rail fan in from Chicago down to St. Louis, catching the old Illinois Central line, and great time.
Yeah, Matt Fricks has been our escort and chauffeur and cruise director, or whatever title we want to give him.
Yeah,
and
he's the official cruise director and connoisseur of good, fine restaurants in the area.
He sure is. He knows this St. Louis area amazing. He can wing around all these back streets, and next thing you know, you're under a bridge and this and that, and then boom, you're right in the middle of a rail yard, or you got some good action going on.
Yeah, you gotta have the inside scoop on where to go, and the rail spots in St. Louis are fantastic. Really a great place to be. You can see all kinds of different traffic, older equipment, and power you just don't see anywhere else.
You know, we don't like to complain, because being here in St. Louis and be able to hang out with such great folks, who wants to hear us whine about it? But it is a little hotter than it was last year. When I say a little, a lot hotter, because last year we were spoiled. It was beautiful, but we were able to get out early this morning, and we're here on Saturday morning, and we went out to the Terminal Association, and we got back on the bridge again. Now, last year was the Village on the Bridge. That was 5 of us out on the bridge. We had a great time. We saw quite a bit of action over there.
Yeah, the yard was fantastic, and your drone got some great shots. I mean, I'm at the point now where I need a drone to get those shots as well. You know, it's great being able to just fly out there and grab those shots you just wouldn't normally be able to get. So it's a great place.
I think it's a lot like cheating, isn't it? Like, when you have a hand camera, as I call it, like a DSLR or whatever you're using, and you're trying to get those shots, and I sneak over there with the drone and get the backside of it and the good light. It's like, you're cheating.
Well, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? So it's okay.
there you go. But yeah, a lot of good research, but I know that your flywheel's already turning when it comes to this. So you came here with already a lot of ideas on your mind. You got a lot of good projects. You've, since the last time been on the show, which has been way too long, and we talked about that, a lot has changed in your life. Why don't you bring up to speed a little bit?
Well, we made a move from the Northeast. We left Pennsylvania last fall, and we moved down to Poolville, Texas, right outside of Fort Worth. So it's been a big move. I never want to move again, one of those type of things, but we made a jump. We have a new building for a new layout. So we have a plan, and we're just ready to execute now. We're just about finished with the building. We just got to install a little HVAC, and then we'll be underway for construction. So looking forward to a new layout, 1,200 square foot, multi-level deck, BNSF Lakeside sub. So it's going to be exciting to build.
I'll tell you what's awesome is you're building this beautiful building. What's even cooler is you built it so close to my southern retreat, which is my grandparents' house. So it's going to be nice and easy to get to for me.
Yeah, open invitation anytime. We got to take care of our New England guys and have them come on down. So yeah, come on down, and hopefully in a year from now we'll have some good trains running.
And you said the magic word, HVAC. That's definitely a must down there in Texas.
Right. Without air conditioning, the building is useless. So we gotta cool it off a little bit to make it useful.
So the Lakeside sub, right? Is that where? Help me with the name real quick.
Yeah, Lakeside sub. It runs between Spokane and Pasco, Washington. BNSF modern. Used to be a Northern Pacific line. Just a fantastic route to go out there, and it's basically the main line off the Northern Transcon. So when you come off the Northern Transcon to the funnel, as most BNSF guy knows, it splits. One line goes to Seattle, Pasco line, which is Lakeside sub, goes down towards Portland. So it's a inner gateway, way into the West Coast.
Well, the way I think about it is you pick up where Mark Herrick is left off, right? You kind of where he ends it, you take over.
Pretty much. He has his western terminus at Hauser Yard, just east of Spokane, and I pick up from Spokane and continue west. So I'm sure there's another layout out there that's running the Columbia River Gorge between Pasco and Portland. Somebody's out there doing it.
There you go. That's great. So you had your layout up in Pennsylvania. How far along were you on that before the big move?
Well, we had the bench work probably 75% done. It was fully signaled. So it was a pretty big job to dismantle a layout. We took out about 3,000 pounds of lumber, and it went just to the scrapyard. Those weren't salvaging. The only thing I salvaged was about 24 foot of stage and track, which I could set up pretty much anywhere. But the rest of it just went into the dumpster. I saved my L-beams or I-beams for the next layout because they were easily transportable, but the rest of the layout, not so much.
Talk about the in-between times, because I'm kind of heading into that in-between time with mine, and it's kind of hard to let go. I mean, you had to because you knew you were moving, but how do you fill that? How do you keep the momentum going? As you knew you were waiting for the building, you're waiting to get track. How do you make that work for you?
Well, in the interim, just a little bit of track design. I had my layout drawn by Bob Sprague of Bob's Track Plans back in Maryland. So he did a nice job putting it all together and taking my vision and putting it into reality on paper. So that was part of the time. The rest of the time, we were busy building a house, so that took up a lot of time. It just goes, Moving is one of those painful things you just have to suffer through. The worst part about moving was making that first cut on the layout. Once you make the first cut, after that it's easy tearing it down. At that point, it's just I'm getting it out of the house, But it's just a matter of planning. Hey, how am I going to do X? How am I going to do Y? There's always new things you come up. Like we're talking HVAC. That's always a new. We never had to worry about that back in Pennsylvania. It was in a basement. But an outbuilding in Texas is a different story. Just trying to keep the heat out and keep the cool in.
So we talked about doing the rail fanning here at the St. Louis RPM, but you've also been spending it with your good friend Butch Eiler, and you've been back behind the table. Talk a little bit about the conversations that have been going on there, at least the parts that you can tell us about.
Oh, yeah, no, Butch has his weathering shop he brings to every RPM meeting, and he sits down with folks and does a lot of weathering, and he has all his fabulous models on display. It's great to see it, and I think most people are afraid to ruin a model or try to weather it, but sit down with Butch and give you some good clues and techniques, and anybody could do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Don't be afraid to ruin a model. As a matter of fact, I think you get within about a half a step of being totally destroyed. The next half a step gets you to the final.
I think that's kind of the thing. I mean, just the fear. These modeling companies put out such beautiful cars, and that fear of ruining it. And I think, like you said, you get to that where I'm ruining. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm starting to turn the corner. But that's one of the things that's really cool about the St. Louis RPM. I mean, I'm looking out, and they have one of the learning station flags in front of their table, and I can see a whole bunch within the view of where we're standing, and and then Tony Sissons is on the other side of them. So you've got two great weathering guys to sit there with and learn from.
Tony he's out there. He's a step above everybody else in terms of like building and scratch building. The guy is simply amazing. But he'll sit down and tell you how he does things, and that's one thing great about the hobby. Everybody shares. Nobody's playing I have a secret. And you've said it before in the podcast. It's just a sharing environment, and everybody wants to raise everybody up. High tide raises all boats type of thing, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're all here at high tide and hanging out with our people and being able to, share all that information, share ideas, ask questions. There's nobody here that's going to not answer that question. It's just what an amazing atmosphere.
It's a fantastic event. If anybody has a chance to come and see it next year, come on out. It's a great event. It really is. It's worth your time.
Dave, I can't wait to get down, and maybe I'll stay in the Butch Eiler bedroom at the Oppedisano estate and hang out in that new air-conditioned building that you're putting up, and get to see you rebuild the Lakeside sub. It's going to be an amazing layout. I just can't wait to see it.
Well, Ray, open invitation. Come on down. So we'll look forward to seeing you down.
Well, talk about technology and another guy that's helping move that whole needle forward. We got Chuck Stancil here from Logic Rail Technologies. Good to see you here in St. Louis, Chuck.
Oh, likewise, Ray. It's really been a great show for me. First time at the St. Louis RPM, and it's everything that people say it is. All that it's cracked up to be.
Well, I'll tell you what, you definitely needed to pack up all of this model railroad technology, but did you have to bring the Texas heat with you?
I'm really sorry about that. We were before here. We were at the Edinburgh National in Novi, Michigan, and I got to tell you, the weather there was amazing and very, very odd for July. It was in the 70s. Told my family we were going to bring it home with us. Apparently, that didn't work out too well.
No, I think you lost it somewhere between Michigan and St. Louis, but that's okay because the room's air conditioned. We're all comfortable, and everything's just really great. And what an awesome atmosphere here at the St. Louis RPM.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I keep hearing about this show, or kept hearing about it, in terms of all the camaraderie. And I think, both in terms of getting exposure to my company and my products, but also just, meeting people, putting faces with names that I've met, online or through your podcast and other media. It's been wonderful in that regard. I've had some sales, so that never hurts. But it's, again, a hugely positive experience.
Let's talk about some products that you got here that are really, enhancing the entire experience and bringing some really neat automation to model railroading.
Yeah, great. Appreciate that. So I think probably the two most popular products I have here of late, still is our Grade Crossing Pro 2, so that provides realistic detection and control of your grade crossings. We've got outputs to flash your signals. We've got optional bell modules to add the sound element. We can activate tortoise motors or servo motors to raise gate arms up and down. It's been a very successful product for me for many, many years, and that's been proven out at both at this show and at the Anna Murray National. Then the other one really, and I did a clinic on this both at the National as well as here, is our Light Effects 16 board. So this is a special effects lighting product with those Woodland Scenics Just Plug connectors on it, and the clinic was very well received. Again, I did it in the Anna Murray National and actually sold out of the product at the National Train Show early Saturday morning. So clearly I didn't build enough or bring enough. Not a bad problem to have, but really excited about that product, really proud of it. Probably my favorite product that I've ever developed.
Well, and I love the part that you didn't try to reinvent the wheel with it. You used somebody else, with being Woodland Scenics. They're very popular. They have the lighting effects already. It's the same connector. You're not cutting the connector off and making changes and doing all that. You've actually used what they have. It makes it so much easier for model railroaders.
Yeah, it does. And, part of what I covered in the clinic, too, is, both through Woodland Scenics and their extensive product portfolio around Just Plug and lighting, and you've got automobiles and street lights and accent lights and so forth. But there's other folks out there that are doing great LED products. Atlas has stuff, Walthers has stuff. You find stuff on Amazon, you find stuff on eBay. And all those things can be easily adapted to the Just Plug connector itself. And folks are rolling their own, too. And I think really where I think the success or the potential for this product really was borne out is in my little diorama, which really kind of portrays the day in the life around this pub I affectionately call Dinger's Pub. Dinger's my black Labrador at home. So he's the pub owner, and this whole little diorama, which you can't see obviously on audio podcast, but it does tell a story.
Well, you won't be able to see it here in audio, but I'll definitely take some photos of that and share it on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Chuck, you're an amazing electronics guy. But you're a pretty good diorama builder, too. These are really sharp. I mean, I could figure out a way to just add this scene right to my layout.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate that, Ray. Yeah, both the little kind of module that I use to demonstrate the crossing circuit, but then the diorama around the Light Effects 16 board. That little diorama was probably the most fun I've had in quite some time. My wife said, yeah, you would just get lost in it for hours on end. But it's a great little scene that I'm very proud of. And actually, I do have a YouTube video, the Logic Rail Technologies YouTube channel. That's easy to find. And as part of the introduction of that product, I do film that diorama, so you can also see the lighting in action there.
Awesome stuff. It's always cool to be able to bring that animation to a layout. You can do that with Logic Rail Technologies. Chuck Stancil, thank you so much for spending a little time with me here at the St. Louis RPM.
Thank you so much, Ray. It's great to see you and talk to you as always.
So we're here at the St. Louis RPM, and I thought we were going to talk model railroading, but I guess we're just going to do the food review with Mike Ostertag. Mike, tell us about the tacos.
Tacos were amazing from the taco truck.
I'm going to have to get out there and try it. They were here yesterday. They're here today as well?
I don't know. There was a coffee truck out there this morning. I'm not sure what they're doing for lunch this time. That's a good question.
I hope I didn't miss out on good tacos.
Oh, tacos were amazing. They had soul food, too. A soul food truck out there, too. That was awesome.
Tacos and soul food and a whole bunch of modelers here gathered at the St. Louis RPM. This is really amazing. This is my second year with you. We got to hang out last year. Yep. We went on that rail fanning trip with no trains.
Yes. We've had a little bit better luck this year-ish. But I've been down here for an extra day. So I actually came down here to hunt down trains so I didn't get skunked like I did last year.
Well, we got only skunked by trains. We had a blast hanging out. Tell us, because I always forget these places because they're all foreign to me. Tell us, where did we hang out last year?
We were up in Kirkwood, Missouri. And unfortunately, this year, it's under construction. The depot is being renovated, and so rail fanning that area is really kind of not happening. So unfortunately, we didn't do our traditional rail fanning up in Kirkwood this year, but hopefully in the next couple of years we'll be able to get back up there because it's a multi-year project they got. It's supposed to be beautiful when it's all done.
Well, that's one thing that's really cool about coming here to the St. Louis to the RPM is you can multi-purpose it. You can do the modeling, you can see people, and then the rail fanning, and then there's other things to do as well. The food, like you talked about, not only taco trucks, but the restaurants and everything else around here are absolutely amazing. So you're definitely making the most of your trip out of Wisconsin.
Oh, absolutely. This is an annual journey for me. I always plan well ahead. I know what I'm going to do ahead of time. I know where I'm going to go, and I always try to make sure that I plan something different so that it doesn't become redundant every year after year after year. So I go home and I'm like, oh, that was kind of fun. That was fun. I want to do this next year. So, and then I always learn about something that I didn't know about, so that the year after that I can plan for that. So and this show is amazing. This show is absolutely amazing.
So you've got some big plans that you've changed some things. I've been going around picking on you. I've been yelling over your shoulder, telling them don't take S stuff in exchange for HO stuff, and telling you, you're finally figuring out what you've been missing. You've come around to our way of thinking, but now you've kind of going in two different directions with the Farland terminal. You haven't given up completely on S, right?
No, not at all. And if you go back, I don't remember what the episode number is, but if you go back and listen to, I believe it's the second time around with my Farland Terminal interview, I actually said at one point, I may do more than one scale at one point. Well, I didn't know I was that much of a prophet. I mean, crying out loud, this is awesome.
I don't think you can call it a prophet when it's your own thought, though. Like, if I was thinking it, you could call yourself a prophet. But you were thinking that you can't take credit for predicting your own future. That doesn't work.
That's not the way this works?
No, that's not how it works at all, Mike.
But yeah, no, you're right. It's I'm not abandoning S, but what I've done is the main S scale layout, I have now become an HO layout. And what I was going to make an S scale or an HO scale modular layout is now going to be an S scale modular layout. So I'll be able to still model both scales, but I'm changing the way my Farland terminal is actually now a contract switching railroad. So it's kind of like an RJ Corman or like a Watco kind of thing where it goes into industries and does the switching for them. So that's what my HO scale is, a brewery, and then the S scale will be a grain milling complex. So I'll be able to do both of them. And so I've been at the show just stocking up on brewery necessities, not beer this time. It's just the cars to make the beer, but it's gonna be really fun. I'm really looking forward to getting home and starting to really dive and get, like you always say, get the flywheels turning to both layouts, because it's going to be a fun winter. It's going to be a lot of fun.
How do you decide if you're going to work on the S scale layout or the HO scale layout? I mean, is it kind of like just following you kind of a passion thing? Like, I'm fired up, I'm just going to go over and do this, or do you have like an agenda that you want to get through on one? How do you organize the two and balance it?
Well, it's funny you said that, because the agenda that I had was I wanted the track on the HO done before I came to St. Louis, and I got that done. So now I can focus on operations and scenery on the HO, and so the S scale, I'm going to go back to hand laying everything. So I can go and do the hand laying of the S scale. So if I'm really stressed out or something, I find doing the hand laying very therapeutic, especially mentally, because I can just sit down and look at this and just take my time and decompress from things just by hand laying that track. Even if I only get a foot or 2 feet done, it's just incredibly therapeutic. So I go and I take, that's where I'm going to be, is going to be my S scale is going to be my therapy layout. So if I'm having a hard time figuring something, or if I'm having a mental block where I can't figure something out on the HO, I got the S scale to go over here and I can start doing something. It might pop something loose, and I can go do that over here now. And that's kind of the way it's going to work out.
That certainly seems a lot better than flipping the light switch off and going upstairs and watching TV. Now you got like a backup plan that still keeps you in model railroading.
Yeah, and well, I got a TV right down in that same room. So I'll just put a brewer game on or hockey game on when hockey season comes around. Got to get my Minnesota Wild going. I'm going to be doing all that, and it's going to be just a nice atmosphere down there and a little oasis, so to speak. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been getting a lot of crap here. I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, I don't think there is a manufacturer here that I haven't talked to that knows me that hasn't said, what are you doing? Why are you buying so much stuff? What's going on? I did have one person ask me if I was medically okay, if I needed hospitalization because I was buying so much stuff. And I'm sitting here going, I've been out of HO for so many years and I had gotten rid of a lot of stuff. I need to restock those shelves and get really focused on what I'm doing. And what a better place to do it than the St. Louis RPM, you know?
Well, they're looking at you that way because of all the hate mail you've sent them over the years about not covering your stuff in S-scale. But yeah, now you've come around to our way of thinking, now you're part of the club of sorts. You haven't abandoned the S-scale. There's all 14 of them out there, but you're still part of their club. But it's definitely good to see you in HO. And speaking of HO, I would be remiss not to talk about Farland Terminal Worldwide and that Home Shops release that is just gone absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, I really appreciate everything Chris Palomari did helping get that whole project going. I want to thank everybody that bought boxcars that got them going. The whole purpose behind it, and I'm sure everybody's heard our podcast about it or seen the podcast about it, is I purposely said I want to see people make these things look like a disaster. I want to see them weathered. These were a 1979 per diem boxcar purchased by the Farland Terminal, and it's 2025. I want to see what your eras look like in the 1990s, the 2000s. I want to see the graffiti. I want to see how these, and holy cow, have the modelers not disappointed me. They are some incredible modeling going on and weathering going on with these things. And man, I couldn't be happier and more appreciative. And kind of on a personal note, and kind of selfishly, actually, it's kind of cool to see your own boxcar on the internet. Like, it's kind of neat, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine. And, it's kind of like per diem cars for real, because if they were all sent back to the home road, you'd have no place to put them, right?
Right. My railroad my railroad was only, is only a little short line, and I literally would not have had enough room for all those cars. So yeah, I again thank Chris over at Home Shops. And there may or may not be another future car coming down the line. Nothing in the works yet, but we have discussed a possibility of something else happening. But we need to get an around the layout boxcar.
Well, we can talk about that, but I don't want to miss thanking Rapido, because Rapido also built a beautiful car. And you talk about weathering it, and you absolutely should. But when that car comes out, the feel of it, just, the tangible feel, like just how they finished it, everything, it's just an amazingly beautiful car.
The Rapido knocked that car out of first of all, the Berlin Mills car, awesome car to begin with. And then, like you said, you put that thing in your hand, that's no joke of a boxcar. It's really, really feels like there's something there. And Rapido did an amazing job on their car as usual. And got a big shout out to Rapido and like I say, Home Shops and everybody that's bought them. I couldn't be happier. And they sold out. So sorry if you didn't get one, but they sold out, which is good, but bad at the same time.
And the one thing also is the we just had Tony Cook go by, and what did he do? Did he kick you?
He kicked me.
Oh, that's not nice. That's not very Tony Cook-esque.
And I'm his ride for the afternoon.
Well, I guess you'll be aiming for every bump heading around. But one thing it's also cool about you talked about seeing it on the internet, but it is worldwide. I mean, I played my part in sending two to Sydney, Australia. Have you been kind of keeping track of like where these things have landed? Because that's got to be wicked cool to see that.
Yeah, I've seen the ones down in Australia already. I've seen them. They're coast to coast. I saw one in Oregon. So I think that might be the farthest west, and I can't remember how far east the one is. They're all over the place. They've gone everywhere. And, it's really kind of cool to be able to, like you say, track this stuff. What I should do is I should get a pin board of the United States and then like of the world and just start putting pins on it where I see these cars coming out of, and then that would be really, really neat.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's neat to see, a worldwide Farland terminal everywhere and getting those cars out. Mike, I'm going to let you go because you got a lot of catching up to do for the rest of the HO world now and grabbing stuff. You got a big bag of product here to get some projects done when you get home back to Wisconsin, but we'll let you go. And we'll share some links as well. Mike Ostertag of Second Section podcast fame. Definitely check those guys out on YouTube. We'll share the link for that. And then look forward to spending the rest of the time here in St. Louis with you.
Yeah, you too, Ray. Thank you for everything. Your show's awesome, and I listen to it all the time, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing. And it's everybody wants to come over see Second Section. We're going to be getting going again in August. We took a hiatus in January, or in July. In July, we took.
It feels like that long, doesn't it?
Oh my God, yeah, it does. When you don't do one of those shows for a couple of weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, it feels like a lifetime has gone by. It's just, and so we're going to start getting going. July was just a crazy month for Andy and myself, so we're going to get going hard and heavy back at it here pretty soon, and look forward to everybody tuning in. And don't forget to check out Around the Layout. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, appreciate the plug and appreciate the camaraderie that we have, not only in the model railroading space, the podcast space as well. We're good friends. We cheer each other on because, my listeners are your listeners or everybody's listeners, and we're just all one big happy family here. So, Mike, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, good seeing you too, Ray. Love the hat, by the way. That's awesome.
So I'm here talking to the bravest person at the St. Louis RPM, and I'm going to tell you why he's the bravest, because he's in a city known for barbecue wearing a white shirt. I could just not pull that off. That's Kevin Norman from Notch 8 Customs. Good to see you, Kevin.
Good to see you too, Ray. Thanks for having me, and that's called confidence.
Yeah, I guess so. That is very big confidence to be able to pull that off, the white shirt in a barbecue city. But you're here working alongside of Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply, and of course you're promoting your services, Notch 8 Customs. And if you're not familiar with Notch 8 Customs, you definitely want to go back and listen to the past episode where we interviewed Kevin Norman. But Kevin's also responsible for that paint that's on that 50-foot high cube that's making its way around the world. And if you've been keeping track, that car is now in Australia working its way down the coast. So when you painted it, how far did you really think it was going to get?
I certainly didn't think it was going to leave the country, or at least North America. So that's impressive to know that some of the work that I've done has made it internationally. It's certainly traveled further than I have outside the United States. So that's impressive.
Well, it certainly traveled farther than I have. Of course, I can't lay in a little box and go across in an airplane either, so it does have an advantage. But yeah, it is now working its way down the coast of Australia, and eventually over to New Zealand, then to Switzerland, and then other parts of Europe before coming back here to the United States. So it is making quite a world tour. That one boxcar that you definitely put your handiwork on and made this vision come to life.
You bet. And thanks, Ray. Appreciate the opportunity. And it's been fun to see where that goes. And it's also been fun here at the show to see everybody's work and really show off some of the things that Jeff is doing with Oak Hill, Kevin Tully is doing with Southern Tier. I just put everything together and try to put together a professional display for everyone and show off all three companies' very unique approaches to what we do, whether it's track work, 3D printing, or all the way down to the electronics, DCC, and sound in your locomotive. So glad to be able to show off all three companies and really put together this nice showcase for the show.
Yeah, awesome. And well, let's talk about this module that you built here, and using components from Kevin Tully and TullyModels.com and track from Oak Hill, and then of course your handiwork of putting this all together to build a beautiful module that they can use to display their work.
Thank you, Ray. Yeah, it took some effort to bring this all together. Kevin had a vision in mind for a new elevator that he wanted to promote, and he came to me with the idea, and I said, sure, yeah, if you put this together or print it, I will build a module for you to be able to display it. So the elevator is all commercial products from Kevin Tully from Southern Tier that he is offering here at the show. And I just put it together, put the module together, one for me, one for Jeff to be able to show off his track work, and it came together relatively quickly. Just wanted to be able to show off all three different companies' work and their approach to what they're building. The track work from Jeff is just absolutely gorgeous. Never seen anything like it before, just smooth as silk, and the detail is absolutely incredible. And the 3D printing side from Kevin, it's absolutely changed the game. I mean, there are things that we're able to do with 3D printing now that were never imaginable before. And so we're able to model very specific aspects, very specific elevators from specific locations, and it's just absolutely incredible. And it's getting harder and harder to tell that these things are 3D printed. It's rivaling injection molding these days. So it's been incredible to see all of the technology that's been on display here at the St. Louis RPM. I would say that's probably been the theme this year, is just the showcase of various technologies that are being offered, and 3D printing is definitely one of them that has just absolutely changed the face of the hobby forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was DCC, and then now it's 3D printing, and we have taken what was really a narrow focus, and we've just blown the sides away, and now it's just wide open and game on for so many different niches. Kevin's hitting it with grain mills and feed mills and steel mills and everything else, and being able to focus on all of that. And now you're able to do that and tie this all together for them in this beautiful module that we will share images on our website, aroundthelayout.com, of.
Sounds great, Ray. Yeah, it's amazing to just see how the sky is the limit right now with some of the technology that's being offered. It's changing the hobby, and one of the best ways I've seen since the advent of DCC in the hobby. So really neat to be a part of it. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience here today, and wish you the best with the rest of the show.
Yeah, well, tell us before we all depart here, talk about Notch8 Customs and how folks can find out about it.
Sure, yeah. Notch8 Customs is my custom company. We do custom paintwork, we do custom weathering, but primarily focusing on DCC and sound installations. Ray interviewed me with Notch8 a couple years back now, I think it's been, but great interview talking about the company. It's on his YouTube channel. But yeah, if you are looking for somebody to do DCC installs, lights, LEDs, custom sound, weathering, paintwork, I'm happy to help you out. You can find me on Facebook. You can see videos and images of all of my work, and the module that we have here on display as well. So if you're looking for a custom installer or a custom paint guy, I'd be happy to work with you, and just reach out to me through Facebook.
The official painter at the HO Scale ATLP 2022 Interchange Tour Car, Kevin Norman, Notch8 Customs. Kevin, so good to see you here in St. Louis.
Likewise, Ray. Thank you, sir.
I keep talking about familiar faces, and here are two familiar faces. We got Joey Giunto and Amy Penny, who have made their way up to the St. Louis RPM. Good to see you both.
It's great to see you, Ray.
Hello, hello.
It's good to see you both hanging out here at the St. Louis RPM. Remind me again how far you had to travel to get here to the St. Louis RPM.
Oh, about 4.5 hours. It's definitely a fraction of the drive from Novi, and that was a great show. So we're really excited for this show. This is where all the serious modelers come to hang out, and the camaraderie, like you say, to see everybody and just hang out with everyone. It's always a great time. So it's always worth the drive to come to St. Louis.
Now, I consider you two a model railroading team. We know Joey with Touch of the Brush, model weathering, and but Amy, you're into it as well. Talk about what you really love about the hobby.
Well, I've loved getting to learn about my family history and in railroading, and so learning about that, and then I've gotten into the kits and going to scratch build at some point, but it's been fun.
Awesome. Have you found something that you really have, jumped in your pocket and want to take away here at the St. Louis RPM yet?
I've gotten a couple of kits, found some cotton belt stuff, which is where my family history is in, so a couple of things from there, but we'll see what else I find.
Now, you guys have made some big announcements in your life. You're engaged. You got all of that going on, and now you are cohabitating, which meant that the layout had to come down. And you've got talk about these big plans, Joey. What's going to be in the future other than your beautiful bride here?
Well, we're deciding to continue with the Penn Reading Industrial Division, and that'll be the Penn Reading Industrial Railroad. And we got the name from you and I when we had our interview last year. And so we're hoping to save for our wedding and save for our house. That way we can actually build our dream layout, which will be including the Penn Reading Industrial Railroad in Allentown, 1969.
Awesome stuff. Are you in all agreement? Is this plan fit your needs as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've really enjoyed getting to learn about the Penn Reading Industrial Division and now the railroad, and just learning different things. But I like it. It's fun.
Name of the business is Touch of the Brush. Now you're going to have her touch on your layout and her input. Talk about that and working together now as you one become one in marriage, but now one in a model railroading passion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now I really have to keep my workbench really clean, and that's the only way we can work together. Yes, we're really excited to start building the very first section of the layout, and that's going to be like a transition of time from the 40s, which we started. Now we're doing the 60s, so we're going to show how life and the world changed in the late 60s from the late 40s, early 50s, and so we're going to do that together. And so it's just a whole new chapter for us, a whole new chapter for model railroading, the layout, the business, all the above.
So with all these new plans for a layout, what excites you the most about it?
Ooh, just learning. I mean, the last layout I did a lot of tree work, but I don't know, just learning everything else. The thing that scares me the most is the wiring, so we'll figure that out when we get there. But I've been watching him lay track on his little model here, so I don't know, everything really.
Awesome. Great to see two working together towards the hobby, and not only support but collaboration. Very, very cool, and I think unique too. And I think that you guys have an awesome story here. Let's talk about this module that you made here. This is sitting on the display for Jeff Otto and Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Talk about putting this together.
It was a lot of fun. I had another display that I used for Touch of the Brush model weathering, and as a modeler, I outgrew it. Plus, it was just way too big to have in our place right now, and so I'm going to be donating to the local museum in Springdale, Arkansas. And I wanted something a lot smaller, something to set the bar high for us. That's ultra realistic looking, and so I just made it's like 19 inches long, I think 3 inches tall. That's all it is. It's a piece of track, but I want a realistic track, and it's from the Oak Hills Model Railroad Supply from Jeff Otto. Just a beautiful track work, a great fun kit to put together. It's a blank canvas to start with, and we're working our way, and all the content is on our YouTube channel and Instagram and Facebook, and the progress is just fun, and it's something to really increase our skills and to improve a lot of things from the past, and actually learning new techniques, so that way we can use that on our layout. And that, like I said, this is going to be the standard in which we go by for the rest of our time modeling for the future.
Are you starting to see this envisioned in your new home and where you're going to be living? You're cringing a little bit. Are you ready for this?
I am ready. He has the vision, so I'm learning as I go, but he definitely has the vision of where this is going, and I'm excited to see it take place. So
I have the visions, but she puts it to reality. So if I have any decision making, anything like that, it's all on her. And she's very encouraging, very supportive of what we do. And we both love history, we love researching history. And so this whole layout is going to be pretty much a time capsule is what we're planning on doing for the people, the culture, and just the world culture, and the pop culture, actually, what happened in the late 60s.
Awesome stuff. So great to hear you have a plan and have a plan together. We'll provide pictures of this awesome looking module that Joey and Amy have created for here to be displayed here at the St. Louis RPM. Beautiful track work, beautiful scenery work, and it's a great display piece. And again, we'll share those. Talk about Touch of the Brush model weathering and where people can find all of your information on your services that you provide.
Sure. You can find us on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook at TOTB Model Weathering. So you just use that link right there. That'll give you to all of our social media content.
Awesome. Joey Giunto, Amy Penny, congratulations to both of you. Great to see you here at the St. Louis RPM. And you go out and you enjoy your time together here in St. Louis.
Absolutely, Ray. Thank you so much. Be blessed, my friend.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you.
We've got Isaac Fabris in front of us here, and let's forget railroads for a second. Let's just talk hats. because yesterday you came in with this epic Gateway Western hat, and now you got your IC hat, and these things are like, I think, straight out of the 80s.
Yeah, I found both of them, thankfully, in a hobby shop. It was an absolute mess. It was an antique shop levels of clutter in that hobby shop, but there was a tote of railroad hats for $5 a piece, and those are the two that I found there, and I snapped them right up. And the Gateway one has the arch on it, so that's the natural hat to wear to the St. Louis RPM.
Oh, it's amazing that Matt Fricks didn't steal that hat from you. And tell us a little bit about what you going on. You're kind of making a transition.
Yeah, so tore the Hayworth spur down. It wasn't very bittersweet just because there's bigger and better things to come. Only tore it down because we're moving to find a bigger house in the same area. Growing family. My daughter is now a year and a half almost, and we got one more on the way due in January. So we're outgrowing our little 2-bedroom house and just going to try to find a bigger one with, understandably, a bigger basement as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll be able to get a new start, and you've hit that new phase in life where you've got the family stuff going. You've got a lot of different priorities. But tell us, in these in-between times, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
I'd be lying if I didn't say it. Kind of took a bit of a downturn, putting stuff in the back burner. I've been messing around with things here and there, mostly just planning. As you well know, I can't stop track planning. Even for myself, I've probably done 20, 30, 40 different track plans of CN prototypes, my prototype, for various theoretical basement sizes and shapes and rooms, just as practice for when I do find that house and I know what that floor plan is going to be. Basically figured out everything I needed to figure out about how I can fit and bend and what I can bend, what I would prefer not to bend, and compress into the space and efficiently model my prototype. I know when I went house shopping, my wife would go look at the kitchen and the bedrooms, and I would immediately say, okay, where's the basement, right? Is that kind of been your process? Among other things, yes. Yeah. There's been a couple that had finished basements, but finished basements with rooms in the basement, which cut into your big train room, right? So yeah, for sure. The one thing I've also noticed, Isaac, you're younger than I am. But you're representative of, what people say that the hobby's dying. You're one of the guys that can prove them wrong. And what's also neat, but you're not alone. There's a lot of guys within your age bracket here. Yeah, for sure. I was just talking to Radisson McGuire, who's the same age as me, I think, and not to put Matt under the bus, but he's not that much older than me. Matt looks pretty young, yeah. So we'll count him in your group. He wears it well, and and we've got local in Peoria, more than a couple, a good handful of younger guys, and the clubs and Fremo groups are definitely appealing, I think, to those guys. Like you say, hobby's evolving, not dying. Absolutely, yeah, and you're definitely living proof of that, along with all the other folks that are here. It is a melting pot of our people, of the folks that get this thing, right, that we do, and how much we enjoy it and our passion for it, and you are definitely passionate for it. Until I talk about silly, wacky freelance stuff, and then you just want to completely disown me. Don't get me started. I got a nice meme this morning that said, "Stop, get help." So Isaac was not into it. But Isaac, big into the prototype, big into model railroading, big to be here at the St. Louis RPM. Authenticity. Mr. Authenticity himself, Isaac Fabris, with his authentic hats and his passion for model railroading, and definitely the future of the hobby is in great hands with guys like him. So Isaac, thank you so much for stopping and talking with me. Glad to talk with you. Yet another face I saw in Deschler, and then you've been on the road everywhere in between. Is it time for a new set of tires, Mr. Tom Garza?
Oh man, let's not talk about a new set of tires. I bought a brand new trailer on the way here. To go do the Deschler show. And between the Deschler show and the Novi show and now this one, there's like 4,000 miles on my trailer. So I've done a lot of traveling the last month, but I love talking to the people and it keeps me going.
Yeah, that's for sure. It keeps you driving. The other thing that probably starts to wear out is your voice, too, talking about scalesigns.com and all the awesome products you got.
In the beginning it was, but I've been really fortunate that my wife has now started to coming along, and she's starting to understand it. And here at the RPM in St. Louis, I have a couple friends that were in the trains that came down, and they're like, hey, we'll help you out. And so they're over there watching the table right now while I get to shop for once, and they're doing the talking for me. So I've gotten half the talking, so my voice, I think, is going to survive today.
I'll tell you, we're both blessed by a great wife and great friends as well that help. I get great help with the podcast. You're getting great help with scalesigns.com, and it takes a little pressure off of us, right? And we get to go out and mingle with our people and do a little shopping and getting to know each other. And I see you're right here at ABR Model Works talking to Alex. We just had Alex on the show. We talked to you and Deschler. It's such an awesome community, isn't it?
It's a great community, and I was just thinking that also. I retired out of the Army, and one of the things I miss the most is camaraderie. And literally, like, just meeting Alex here, and then I'm meeting you and other people here in the railroad and seeing them here at the show. Camaraderie, something I miss. It's awesome to be around all these people and seeing them. And it's like I've been 3 shows in 4 weeks, and it's like a family reunion every time I come here. And the family is getting bigger because I'm meeting more people, which is awesome. I love it. That's literally probably more than half of it, is meeting the people that are in this industry that are all beautiful, awesome, nice people.
Well, you talk about reunions. It's our 1-year reunion. I met you here last year at the St. Louis RPM. I saw your stuff, blown away. And talk about what it's been like from last year to this year and everything in between. It's got to be an absolute whirlwind.
Whirlwind, I don't think there's even words for it. Yeah, you're right. This is 1 year, and I'm absolutely amazed at where I am. Been to Amherst now, meeting John at Amherst. The Novi show, I met Marty Jenkins, which is the MRA world president, and going from just 2 tables to 7 tables, it has been a whirlwind. I almost feel like a rock star sometimes. I've been really fortunate to have a product that everybody loves. And it is just, even right now, I'm lost for words for how much this year has gone by so quick. I'm amazed. I'm talking to you right now, and it's been a year.
Yeah, it's been an entire year since we first saw all the products you're bringing out. And yeah, like you said, you had a small display. Now you're out in the hallway with a big, long display. Boy, you can't miss it. You got to end up with a pretty good spot. You must have, maybe slipped Lonnie a 20 or something to get that front row center spot that you got out there.
Well, I think it's a little bit of the whole year that's just gone by. I happened to just get lucky to make a product that was a niche that people needed, and I just been on wildfire. And I think Lonnie, everybody just says, hey, where's the scale sign guy? Where's the scale sign guy? Where's the sign guy? And I think that product, the hype has just helped me put me in positions where I'm at. But I'm humble. I'm not going to let it go to my head. And I'm just glad to be here and help the railroad industry to be what it is. Like Alex, I just realized Alex is in his mid-20s. He's got a great product, and his packaging is beautiful. I mean, I told him I'm proud of him for being that young and being that motivated. It's like me, he's doing the same thing and just having a great time and going. I can't wait to see him next year here and see where he's at.
Yeah, he's going to be growing. You're going to be growing. You guys growing together, and that you're able to, share the things that you learned with him, and he's going to share things he learned. And it really is. It's minimal, and I think that's the whole spirit of the RPM. The minimal. There's no competition. Everybody is just kind of working together, whether you're a modeler or if you're an industry. And boy, you see product X over talking to product Y, and they're not fist fighting. They're getting along, and they're sharing ideas and talking and cheering each other on, because there really is a lot of room for everybody in this hobby, whether it be modelers or podcasts or authors or manufacturers. It doesn't matter. There's room. There's so much to be covered in this, and like you're finding with signs, there's so much out there that to be covered, and you don't have to fight with anybody to do it. It's a great cooperative here at the RPM.
It is. It's a great cooperative. There's so many vendors here that are like, hey, I need some signs. I'm all right. I got you. And so we're going to do a collaboration. And I think maybe that is a little bit of future of what's going on with the next generation that's making companies. It's collaboration. It's helping each other. It's being a family. It's being that camaraderie that I'm not here to be better than you. Let's work together and be together and expand together as one instead of fighting over each other. Because, it's called the United States, not the individuals. It's us all being together that makes us powerful, and that's what I see here too.
Yeah, very powerful to all be together, be amongst our people. And Tom, you are my people, and it's great to always talk to you. Let's go back again to think about this. 1 year ago, you come out, St. Louis RPM, couple tables. Now you've got this big long. Tell me what the biggest change has been for you in that year. What is the biggest lesson you've taken from all of this?
Honestly, the biggest lesson is it takes time to develop things to do it correctly. I came in here with incredible amount of spirit and drive, which I still have. But the industry has shown me that if you want to make something good, it's going to take a little more time. When you're young, you think you can get things done really super quick, and you can. And you still can to a point, but definitely one of the things I learned, it takes a little time to get where you need to be if you want to do it right. So I've had to humble myself and step back a little bit and go a little bit slower so that we can have a better product instead of just throwing something out there that people want and taking their money for granted and giving them a crappy product just because you can make it fast. And so what I really learned in the years to slow down a little bit, listen to people more, to what they have to say, and take that information and input it into the company in order to make a better product for the customers out there.
Awesome. Learning as you go, continuous improvement, all these things that you're picking up along the way. It's been so exciting to be watching you, partner with you. We work so well together, and I really appreciate the relationship that we have built together between Around the Layout Podcast and ScaleSigns.com. You're just so enthusiastic about your product and about the hobby itself. So awesome that we were able to run into each other here in St. Louis once again.
Well, just to sabotage your show for a second, you also have grown in the last year, I believe, since I've known you. And it's been incredible to be around you over the last year that I ran into you and saw how your podcast has grown and to listen to the ideas that you've done. In that I'm not a podcast person, but it's awesome just like you said, you're watching me grow over the last year. I want to say that it's been awesome to see you grow. I get people saying, hey, I heard you on the podcast, and I'm like, oh, right, cool. And so on your side, I'm also glad to see you grow in the last year that I've got to know you. You've taken me under your wing, is what I tell people, and you've given me some advice. And once again, it goes back to the camaraderie, I think. And I want to thank you for what you've done for me over the last year. And I'm really glad to see what you have done and where you've gone in the last year.
Well, it's truly been my pleasure. Just as us model railroaders, as we learn, we love to share, and we do the same thing on the business side of model railroading. What we learn together, we share together, we all rise together. Tom Garza, thank you so much for spending some time with me here at the St. Louis RPM.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you another day.
And there you have it. There's the first half of all the interviews we did out at the St. Louis RPM. You can check out all the links and some photos as well from the event on our website, aroundthelayout.com/175. Thank you all for tuning in, and look for the second half coming very soon. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback, aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.